Live?
We are live.
Ah,
Finally.
so is that the view that they're seeing?
Yeah,
The
that's the
whole.
view. Yeah, so we got our big studio here. Here we are.
Hey, finally! It took 2 weeks to
Right?
figure this out, how to go live. I hope we're actually live.
Yeah,
It'd be nice.
yeah, it should be.
If we're not, we're just gonna sit here and talk.
sit here and talk and drink some more wine again. So,
Bunch of winos, aren't we? So,
last,
welcome to Dog's Red Wine. We're in Perrysburg, Ohio. It's Friday evening, and we've been thinking about going live for a while. We usually film it, you edit it, and then we're about a week behind. So
Yeah.
hopefully we'll be more current events,
absolutely.
talking about what's going on today.
Yeah, we'll run this weekly podcast. Still figuring out the time frame, but today it's
Friday afternoon. We should be out partying,
Right.
so I guess we'll
So
just have to party here.
Cinco de Mayo's coming up,
I know,
right?
Yeah, you know what Cinco de Mayo is?
I mean,
Cinco de Mayo was actually promoted by Tecate beer.
of course, right?
In Mexico, it's not a holiday.
Right.
It was the Mexicans beating the French. So it was it lasted like a week.
Okay.
So it's not their Independence Day. And in fact, I think most Mexicans are well, now they probably celebrate there because of the tourists,
because it's
But in the middle of Guadalajara, they're not oh, Cinco de Mayo's coming up,
Right.
It's definitely American more a holiday than.
I think I'm gonna head down to Lupita's.
Lupita's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Down in downtown Perrysburg.
Well, there is Cinco de Mayo restaurant right down the street.
Oh, that's true. That's 3 minutes away.
Yeah, I go there all the time. I usually go there on Thursdays, and with my friend Jennifer, we go there so often they think we're married. We don't argue like married people.
Right, that should be their first clue.
Yeah, they must think we're on our honeymoon.
So, well, welcome to Dog's Red Wine Studio here in Perrysburg, Ohio. We're excited. This is our first live broadcast, number 12 for our episodes, though. So
we've gotten to know each other. We didn't really know each other,
right?
12 episodes ago, didn't
we? Right.
Yeah.
So
we're still getting to know each other,
right?
Yeah.
So I had to surprise you a little bit. Last week, our failed live stream attempt, we drank a nice bottle of Decoy.
It was very good.
It was very good.
Very good bottle.
Very good. This one was right beside Decoy, and it was $5 off, and it's one I've always wanted to try. I almost grabbed it the other day.
Great.
And I'll buy a bottle of Decoy that we can share in today. But I wanted to usually we surprise each other and
what we do is we take turns in buying something, and we put a paper bag and try to guess what the variety is, the country or state, and usually we know it's red or white by the color.
Right. Right.
So, we did a couple of bourbon tastings. Those were fun for me, probably more fun for me than you because it was your bourbon. And we did a tequila tasting over at Papitas. Is it Papito?
Lupitas?
Lapita, yeah, in Perrysburg. That was a lot of fun. Got to try some really good tequilas, and I found out that actually I like mezcal more than tequila.
Right. Yeah. Right. Well, let me pour you one.
Please do. So I had an interesting week. I got delivery the other day of my exoskeleton. I'm sitting there on the chair, and a little insight for those of you who don't know me.
You might have to pull your mic if you're going to lean back.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So
there you go.
I have they call it mitochondrial disease, but I think it's really more of a disorder. So I have a gene problem.
Sure.
And so the energy to my cells is not as good as if I was healthier. So I don't have as much energy in my legs. So I got this exoskeleton to help me walk. And I've had it for a couple of days now. And actually coming up these stairs, I was better today.
Right. It was hard.
I didn't hesitate to get up.
Right.
Last time I was it was tough.
Yeah.
But it makes you work harder for sure. Me, because I don't walk properly. I think I sort of drag my feet, and
Right.
this was like making me lift my feet more.
Does it feel like it's exercising your muscles more?
Yeah, for me,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, that's what I was
I think for
wondering.
the average person, they would
Yeah,
probably find it's doing more of the work
yeah.
for them. But I'm now using my legs probably in a way I haven't used in years.
Right, right. So that's pretty awesome, really. I wonder if there's a way that I can stream this a video of you walking up the steps because that's pretty cool. Um, just in case can't stream it. Let's see here. I think I can. Nope, that's just audio only.
So
By
I think this exoskeleton. So what an exoskeleton, there's actually now that I've bought one device, they're coming out of the woodwork, and being suggested to me on YouTube and stuff. And I think that we're sort of headed. I talk about robots taking over everything, but I think cyborg humans will probably be the next range of electronics that come out, because if you have one of these exoskeletons, let's say you don't have any problem walking or anything, right? But you work in a warehouse,
oh
and it's
yeah,
huge.
right,
You can go 40% faster.
yeah,
You'll be able to pick up 40% more, and
right,
you'll last longer. So before they buy a robot, they might get Bob an exoskeleton to get him, because he's going to be way more efficient.
right.
And for $1,000, that thing is going to pay off in no time.
Uh, Delta Airlines has an exoskeleton that they have purchased. I don't know how widespread they're being used to help their baggage loaders and stuff like that.
Okay.
So they just debuted it at one of these science fairs. Like I guess it's like I don't know if it's South by Southwest. Was that the one, the big one in Austin? Sorry about that.
I
Should
don't
know
have
that
no, yeah, well,
technology
that's
one,
uh,
but anyway, I will plug a link to this video here. I want to. Am I gonna?
watch me going up the stairs.
Let's see if I
Uh-huh.
can. I gotta link this, but it's not gonna show up on the podcast. But look at that. That's impressive, right? See what better than last time, guys?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So
and I'm getting used to this thing.
right, you've
So
only had it for a day.
I haven't even spent an hour on it.
Yeah.
So
So this is incredible. This
I've
is
gone for two
incredible, right?
15-minute walks. I think it's going to be life changing for a lot of people.
Right.
Because I'm now thinking, oh, instead of like we were down in Puerto Rico,
Yeah.
and it was just a bad day for me. I mean, you and I went out to get some tequila, I think it was,
Right.
and coming back, I just about died.
It was
I had a
rough on
really
you.
hard time walking back.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
this thing, whether I want to or not, it's still gonna keep on walking.
Yeah.
So
Do you think it's I know you've only had it for a couple of days. Do you think it could help somebody that is wheelchair bound, or you have to at least be able to?
well, I did watch a video, and this guy was a paraplegic, and he's given stem cell and all that, and he can only do walk with the bars. You know how
Okay.
they have the two.
Oh, sure,
So he had
sure.
the exoskeleton on, and the exoskeleton was helping him walk. So a lot of people who have those kind of injuries, they have to retrain the brain, right?
Right, right.
That helps. That's what
Yeah.
I think is going to happen. Is if I go for a walk every day, I'll go a little bit longer because today's walk was longer
Right,
and longer and longer. So it's going to help me retrain my legs because I was dragging my legs before, and
right.
that thing makes you lift your legs.
Which is
And
going to be super good for your muscle development as you like your quads and stuff like that. While
absolutely,
you know what I mean?
and
So
it's
that's
got a
amazing.
9-mile range, which I don't
Wow.
think I'm gonna probably test
And
for a while.
what brand is this? Do you remember?
Um, Exos. Actually,
I'll
no,
grab it. I'll grab it.
it's on my phone too.
Oh, okay. So,
So at first I thought it was a little bit challenging to set up, but once you fit it, so it's got a clip around your waist,
yeah.
and then it's got two clips, one at each leg, right?
Right.
And then you have to use the app to start it.
Oh, okay.
So every single time you have to use the app. So no one can really steal the thing. If they do, they it'll be useless, right?
Right.
So, and the battery lasts, like you said, 9 miles.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a lot. So it's called Hypershell.
Hypershell.
So the app, you put in your height and your weight, and you can adjust your hip width with it, and then you adjust the clips for your belly or your hips, right around your navel and right above your knees. And it's a weird sensation. I can't really describe it. It's really one of those things, and maybe I'll hook you up on it so you can try it.
Yeah.
But it's this one guy. There's 3 models, so this is like the lower of the model because I didn't really think I was going to start running this week. And if I get up to running, I'll get another one down the road, right?
Yeah.
I hope I can run.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Wouldn't that be amazing? So,
the wine?
Yeah, we can talk about the wine.
I think you're back to California.
I am, yeah.
And it smells a little bit older, like 5, maybe 7 years old. And I don't think it's a cab. It might be a cab. Yeah, I'd say cab, California, 5 years old.
So it's, I think it's only 3 years old. And it is a California cab, right in that same region. I do like the decoy a little better after a taste on this. But this is one I've always wanted to try. Sitting there. It's about a $23 bottle of wine. So, I mean, something that could be, a daily drinker. I mean, it's like right there, that mid-range. It's not, it's something that you could.
Did someone comment? Is that a comment that just came up?
Oh, let's see what we got.
I don't know.
Oh, I think it could have been just somebody texting. I think my phone. Yeah.
Gotcha. Never mind. I thought I was all excited.
Yeah, right. First live comment.
Person talking to us.
Yeah. Right. So let me pull this one out here, and I'll show you what we got. So we got the Stag.
It's not Stag Leap. Just
just Stag. Yeah. Yeah.
I like Stag Leap, but I've never tried Stag.
So it's I don't think it's from the same vineyard, but
no, it's not.
Stag Leap was up there to the right. I think that's about probably a $70 bottle of wine. Stag Leap, yeah. Which I've never had Stag Leap, but this one, it's nice. It's not as nice as Decoy.
What did you say that was 23?
23. Decoy, I think, is like
7
$29.
cheaper.
Yeah.
$10 cheaper than the Decoy.
Yeah.
Wasn't the Decoy $30?
Yeah, 20. Yeah, they had that one right there. So that's a nice one though.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm excited to see. We'll keep giving you updates on this exoskeleton.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I can set it so you can try it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
if the person's too big, it won't work because it's a hip thing. So if your hips are too wide, it's not going to work for you.
Okay.
And I think there's a height and a weight problem. But your size, my size, I think I'm about near the top.
Yeah.
Maybe 6'2".
Okay.
I'm 180, so maybe 200 pounds. But if your hips got a little bit wider, I'm pretty close to the edge. Of what it can do. Yeah.
Okay. But pretty amazing technology. We'll see if they can. Maybe we can be an influencer. Have you be an influencer? You can be a prototype.
Yeah, they can send me their other model and watch me run.
Yeah.
I watched a video guy, and they have these electric unicycles. Have you seen those?
Yeah.
Like the guy's bouncing, so he's standing on this thing.
Right.
And he's got the exoskeleton on, and so he's doing deliveries.
Oh yeah.
And it took him 1 minute to go up 5 flights of stairs and down. 1 minute.
Wow.
Now, it would take me like 5 minutes to get up one, right? I'd be like, elevator, right?
Yeah.
And he was just he goes, I can't believe this is so easy. And the upper grade models have like major power if you want to,
Wow.
so you
Wow.
can run up hills and stuff like
Wow.
that.
Um,
It's neat technology. The things. I've got the smart glasses. Now they're AI,
right.
right?
Right.
And I have this thing on my arm that checks my blood sugar.
Right. Right.
So I'm on my way to being
We're gonna chip you.
bionic,
Yeah. Yeah. We're gonna have
cyborg.
Elon Musk chip you.
Yeah, yeah. In a couple months, one of my eyes will probably be glowing red and shit. Yeah.
So, yeah. Uh, what do we got in the news besides your exoskeleton? You got some China tariffs happening. That's
Well,
causing
a
some.
lot of people are moaning and groaning about China tariffs, and I understand that. And I'll be honest with you with the viewers. I had a side business of jewelry, and it was all from China. It was sterling silver stuff with moissanite, and at 140% tariff, I'm not gonna be able
Yeah.
to sell that anymore. So yeah, I pretty much put my little side hustle out of business. But I'm also a student of China. I've been watching China forever, and I really didn't think they would last this long.
Yeah. It's
As a communist country, I didn't think.
right.
But
Right.
it's now like it's
And
hitting rock bottom.
yeah, well, and they try really hard to control Taiwan, which I noticed a lot of the Amazon stuff that I think probably had made in China stickers on it have some made in Taiwan stickers. And I know that's a pivot that businesses have been working with for a while now because I believe it was with Trump's first administration. He put some tariffs on there, and the one of my friends, they do like third party tools.
Uh huh.
For like, let's say Home Depot wants their branded tools or HDX or whatever, they'd go make the HDX. They're not Craftsman or anything like that. They're whatever company they partner with. It could be the Ace Hardware tool brand, whatever that might be. But they switched from China and they switched their manufacturing plant over to Taiwan, like 5 years ago.
Well, there's a lot of that going on, but the other side of it, which I don't think most Americans grasp, is how tied our economy is to China,
Oh yeah,
and it's not a good thing.
right.
And the reason it's not a good thing is because China is a communist country that, I mean, their stated goal is to bury us. So we're in essence financing our own
Right,
funeral
right, right.
with with a foreign adversary.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you a question. What percentage of our medical supplies come via China,
Ooh, medical supplies. I
including
bet
medicine, precursors, right?
I bet 80%.
95.
Wow, that's
So if we got into an
concerning.
actual war with them, they invaded Taiwan, we said, screw you,
Yeah,
we're in, right? There's not going to be any trade.
yeah, and
So what do we do with our medicines? So I think it's better that the tariffs and the situation, I think for a lot of people and a lot of companies, this is an opportunity to bring it back home.
hmm,
Because at the end of the day, we could be seriously screwed
yeah,
if we got into a hot war with China.
right, and
Um,
yeah, and nobody wants to be in a war with China. I mean, 1 billion people, and you know they play dirty.
well,
I mean, with
that's
their
true.
trade
I
secrets and
there are serious conversation. I don't know if this is true or not, but from what I understand, from what I'm hearing, that the 1.4 billion people is not true.
hmm,
That it's more like 800,000 or 800 million. Now that's significant difference,
yeah,
and in a war that would be significantly different. But why are they lying? And where is everybody? Have you seen, like, these factories are empty? The big cities like Shanghai, Beijing, the streets are empty. The businesses are closed. The malls are empty. Where is everybody?
Have you seen those actual cities that they pre-built and they
Never
were
moved in.
and yeah, like
Yeah.
there's like entire cities and infrastructures that are, I guess they keep building rings, right? Like however many rings outside of the center of Beijing, they just keep building these like rings. I've never actually been over to
Well,
China.
that's what they did for a long time. So I think it's something like 80 or 90% of people's retirement money was in real estate.
Mm,
And so they just kept building and building and building. And now there's no one to move in. They can't afford the the mortgage,
mm.
and some people are having to pay mortgages on condos that aren't finished.
Right, right. That's how Vegas was for a while there before the probably think before the 2008 bust.
Right. Well, in Las Vegas when that happened, you put down money.
Right,
You
right,
didn't have to make a payment,
right,
but then the market crashed,
right.
and everybody pretty much said, "Well, you can keep my $10,000." I'm
Well, in a lot of, I know a couple people that the thing to do if you were like in the real estate game is instead of just buying one house, you'd buy two houses. And
well
by the
in
time,
Vegas there were people who had bought 8
yeah,
because the qualification on a mortgage then all you had to it was stated income.
hmm
So you can say I make $2 billion a year, and they're like, okay.
yeah, um,
It's funny you drive a Pinto and you make $2 billion a year, but if that's what you want to say, well, put that down.
and what happened was when they had that crash in 2008, the real estate crash, or maybe it was 2006 or seven even, but um, these people that had bought houses, two houses, thinking that they were going to sell one for a profit because the market was going up so fast at that time. If you were going to buy two new construction houses, you could probably almost make 100 grand by the time that
Oh
thing
yeah,
was
that's why
yeah,
people were putting down 10 grand on a condo
right,
that
right,
wasn't built. They literally had dirt with a
yeah,
tent, and people were writing checks for 10
yeah.
grand. And there were something like 150 condo projects on the strip.
Mm-hmm.
So the price of the land also went through the roof because all these developers were buying up land, right? Well, when the market crashed, it crashed because the evaluation for all of Las Vegas Valley was based on these half acre parcels and 1 acre parcels that these developers paid 400% more than they should have,
Right,
right?
right.
So it crashed the whole valley. And I was living there at the time, and there were I was living in a bunch of townhouses, and I would say 3 out of 4 had a notice on the door,
Mm.
and you could have picked up would now be a $400,000 condo for 10 grand.
Yeah. If you had 10 grand cash. Yeah,
Yeah, and that's the other thing
you
is
couldn't finance it.
no,
The
no,
banks
no,
wouldn't
no,
finance
absolutely
it.
not.
Right.
They had cut everybody off.
Right.
They cut everybody off.
Yeah. My
Even people were in good standing and everything
right.
else. They just nope, sorry.
Yeah. Well, they didn't have the leverage. They didn't have the balance sheets to back it. You know, what I mean, they were getting audited by the government and they were failing all the stress tests of
Yeah,
being, viable. But my cousin was doing well as a optometrist and during that time, and um, one of the parade of homes, the guy built a parade,
yeah.
and he was just trying to save his business and like bring some equity in, and um, nobody could get loans for the banks at that time. The builder, it was like a parade of homes built, custom built house. He offered it to him for $50,000 less than what it cost him to build it, just so he could get some, working
And they
capital.
said no.
Well, no, he paid. My cousin was able to pay cash. So I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
but the banks weren't going to finance it.
Oh, yeah, yeah. If you could go back in time to
Ugh,
2008 with some
cash.
cash,
Yeah.
oh man, I could have bought 10 houses for 100 grand.
There's houses.
Easy.
Yeah, there's houses down in Florida that you, if you had cash, you could buy them for the foreclosed, beautiful homes, 120,000, and those are all $1 million homes now.
Hmm.
You know, but crazy.
Although Florida is tanking a little bit.
I would
This is one of the
it
few
go over.
markets around in Ohio
Yeah,
right here.
yeah,
And
it's
this market's
stable.
still doing quite well.
Yeah, in certain areas, yeah, yeah. It's more stable, not it's not as
Right.
volatile. So, but yeah, but
So I was thinking, you and I went to, I'm not even going to say the restaurant, but you and I met for lunch a couple weeks ago. And you had chili
oh yeah, yeah,
and a beer. And I had a chicken sandwich and a Diet Coke. And with tip, lunch,
yeah.
close to $50.
It's crazy, right? It gets
And you and I are do okay, but it still seemed pretty freaking expensive to me.
right for a bowl of chili and a
Chicken
small
sandwich,
beer. I had a small beer.
small.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. I mean,
so
it wasn't a 16 ounce. It was like a 12 ounce
so that
pint of
particular
beer.
restaurant and other restaurants, most restaurants, I can tell you, even in affluent, fairly do well areas, are hurting right now. And I think it is a culmination of fatigue
Yeah.
of us, the buyer, because I don't want to pay $50 for.
No,
I'll
exactly.
have you over,
Yeah.
and I'll give you a 6 pack of beer,
Yeah.
a tenderloin sandwich,
Yeah.
some caviar, and right
That,
for fifty
yeah.
bucks, I can. It's absurd, and so I think that the average Joe, I consider myself the average Joe on spending in a restaurant. I think we're tired of it. We the COVID thing and the tipping. I saw something the other day. It said good or no, okay, 30% tip. Okay, not bad. 40, pretty good. 60, 100% tip.
I never
Great.
did.
Who are these people that think that
Yeah.
they deserve?
No, but I lived for 4 years down on Miami Beach, and there um, they automatically tack it on. It's usually 18% is what their normal one is. Sometimes it'll be 20 or 22%, but it's already on
Even
there.
if it's just one person.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, it's like the whole
See, and I
beach.
think you're taking away the power of the spender.
Yeah,
And what happens in a situation like that is everybody who works there and serves is probably not the same caliber of a server.
right.
So the crappy server gets the same as a great server.
Yeah,
That's unfair.
it is unfair,
I
and
I'm not. I like the serving business. I've been
right,
a waiter, and I like getting tips
right,
because I did a really good job.
right, right. But everything there is really tourist priced. You know what I mean? So, um, I I when I used to work a lot, I because I used to work a lot down there. I used to do long days and usually at least 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week. I was pretty busy helping this aviation company. I was down there. I wasn't part of the owners, but I was part of the initial cadre. I was part of the initial crew that was developing this with them. I was involved in the managing and the hiring and the running of the business, right?
Yeah.
So we were working a lot. We were building this business, and I was doing well. And I remember I was down there with my daughter Sophia, and we went to breakfast. Neither of us had alcohol. We had drinks, like she had probably a specialty coffee. I maybe had a cappuccino, and our breakfast bill came to $85. And I'm like, this I don't care how much I make. I'm not going to pay $85
Okay,
for
there. I
breakfast.
just don't believe that everybody down there is going out to breakfast every single day and blowing $85,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, it's got to
So
be
when it's
the.
$85, you're gonna go, well, that was good for the month,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That was after that. That was. I used to go there often.
Aren't what I'm getting at? Aren't restaurants shooting themselves in the foot now?
Yeah, but
If they're
they're
empty, they are. If their business is down, and they're now doing happy hour and two for
yeah,
ones and things like that to bring people back in, because I think they've overpriced it. The service has gone somewhat down,
right.
and this whole tipping thing I think is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's hard to. It's probably hard. I mean, you were a restaurant owner, also. I mean, that pass through, their profit margins are tight, right?
Or none.
Yeah, yeah,
Most restaurants I talk to, I consult with. I've talked to 3 restaurateurs in the last 7 days. All 3 of them are not in the black, and they're like, "Well, we used to be in the black, but costs and our
yeah.
customer base is changing." And I think with RFK being the head of health in America now, and this like make America healthy again, I think restaurants should take that on
I agree.
and do smaller portions and healthier health couple choices that are healthier,
Yeah,
especially on the low carb side.
right, right.
Um, and do something unique and do a smaller portion. And I've got this idea. So restaurants have some of the things on the menu that you can do half portion,
Yeah,
but still charge 10% more. So
right,
charge 60% for half as
right,
much.
right.
So they'll make a little bit more. And, people are taking Ozempic now. People are
Yeah,
getting more worried about because let's face it, America is fat.
yeah. Really fat.
We are the unhealthiest group of people on the earth. Maybe our longevity is longer, but
I don't think so. Not compared to some of these.
if it is, it's because of drugs.
Right, right. Or access to good health care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Access, but um, but there's a lot of other places in the world where they are living healthy lifestyles longer, not just longevity, but they're healthily living into their 80s and 90s.
My sister lives in Paris. She's a French citizen, and they have free medical, right?
Okay,
But if they weigh you and they go, I think you're a little heavy, they put you on a diet.
I didn't
And if
know
you
that.
don't lose weight, they take you off free.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
they're heavy handed about they know the consequences of you being pre diabetic or
Right,
diabetic,
right,
and know that you're gonna become an anchor on their system.
right.
So they're
Huh.
now in the United States, I don't think there's an insurance company that goes, "Hey, you're a little fat.
Right. Huh.
You need to
Uh,
lose weight." Now, who I have, they made me quit smoking, and they want to know what my blood sugars were like. So they're on it, but it's a nonprofit.
mm,
So everybody who gets it, um, we're all in the same boat, right? We don't
right,
want anybody to be unhealthy
right,
because I'm
right,
helping to pay. It literally is health share
right, right,
instead of insurance.
right, right.
So there, we have to become healthier of a country.
Right. Yeah, it's um, a lot of that happened. Well, I think it was in like the 60s, early 60s when the food would fluctuate big, kind of like eggs now. You know what I mean? Like people, but it actually became part of the political platforms that they're like. you got to do something about these food prices. Well, what they did about the food prices, rather than like streamline, make things more efficient, they increased subsidies for sugar farmers. So the sugar beets and the sugar canes,
Oh,
even to this day.
sugar. Yeah, sugar is what in the 60s. The only thing they said that was bad about sugar was cavities.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, all of these other things that they said were bad weren't actually that bad. But when you pump your body full of sugar and carbs and high fructose corn syrup,
Well, look at it. Look, go Google some photos of a crowd in the 70s,
mm-hmm.
and then Google a photo of a crowd in 2025.
Yeah,
Okay, it looks like everybody was doing blow in the 70s.
just
They're
because they're
all
all skinny.
skinny, right? And you didn't drive to your mailbox.
Right.
You walked.
Yeah,
Now everybody's in their car.
yeah.
No one gets any vitamin D from the sun. No one gets any kids. My mom kicked us out of the house.
Right.
Go do something outside. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Turn the TV off. Now they're all in front of a TV screen and they have a gaming console or their phone.
Yeah. And they wonder why they have a hard time socially, interacting or.
I mean, I'm very thankful that both of our daughters are doing this hot yoga thing.
Yeah, that's pretty
And
amazing.
it really has changed. I would say the chemistry of how they behave. I don't know what you're.
No,
finding,
absolutely.
Even when Ocean comes home from that day, she's such a nice person.
And how it affects their decisions. So it's hard because you can't really tell them. They discovered it on their own. We didn't say, go.
Oh no! If I told her to go, she wouldn't have done it.
No, exactly.
If I said I paid for a year and bought you the mat and I'll drive you, no, she'd be like, "No, Dad."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the fact that they are going, and thankfully they found it on their own, it's pretty crazy because they don't party the same way.
Yeah.
They don't they choose friends differently. They sometimes invite their friends to go work out.
Oh yeah, Ocean has
Yeah.
invited and got enough people to join.
Yeah.
She hasn't paid in a couple months.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, right.
She's like one of their top salespeople.
It's a great plan.
A couple weeks ago, I'm like, I don't think you've done hot yoga in like 4 or 5 days. And she goes, no, yeah. So she went that day and she came back and she was so much nice. She goes, I feel so much better. I don't know. And I'm like,
right. So
go.
Yeah.
So if you've got a rotten kid, I mean, not a rotten kid, I mean, a moody kid,
a teenager,
who's glued to their phone, I would suggest hot yoga. It seems to be a winner.
Yeah, nice.
Probably anything is, going for a walk or jog or just put the darn thing down and, go do something different. And, we as parents, we're sort of stuck in this phone world, aren't we?
Yeah.
We can't, because we do it.
Yeah, I mean.
So it's hard to tell them not to.
Right. But, yeah, I wonder what it would be like if they were just without their phone for a week.
Well, TikTok closed down for like an hour, and they all freaked out and, had a conniption. So we already know what happened.
Right. That's funny.
If the phones went down, oh my God. Well, Facebook went down a couple years ago, remember?
Yeah, for like a day.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Same as TikTok.
Yeah. So they don't really use Facebook. This generation doesn't. Did you know we're in a new generation beta now?
Oh, we're gonna test it out.
No, it's so.
Do they come 2.0 down the road?
So, you and I are X, right?
Yeah.
Generation X, and then there was the millennials, and then there was Generation Z, right?
This is Z.
I think so. Yeah, I think it was. I think it was millennials, then Z, and then it went A or Alpha. They went Generation Alpha, and now babies that are born after April 2025 are Generation Beta. So,
Huh.
so we're in a whole new generation, several generations back. So, huh.
Canada just had an election, and I feel sorry for Canada. They probably got closer to becoming our 51st state after their election. So they had Trudeau was very liberal,
Yeah.
and then this Carney guy showed up out of nowhere. No one knew who he was. I think he's English banker. So he just showed up, but it's all Commonwealth, right? So
Yeah.
if you're from England, it's the same as being from New Zealand or Australia or London, right? And so he won, but now all the poll numbers, the only way he won were the older generation
Okay.
went liberal.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's interesting because the same thing is happening in the United States. So the younger generation in the United States has become very conservative.
Yeah. Well, they didn't like what they. I mean, they.
Well, every other generation tends to look back and go, what were they thinking?
Right.
Right? So, got pushed too far to the left. And so that last generation that can vote is pushed back and it's nice to see. They're also a lot more religious too.
Oh yeah, and their responsibility level. You know what I mean? There's such like so um yeah. So restaurant tours. You were talking about restaurant tours.
Yeah, I really think that these guys need to look at how they're doing it. Of course. Well, my advice is one lady I actually talked to her yesterday, and everything's going right for them, but they're not in the black. And I was like, well, you got to look at your menu differently because food costs have gone way up. So instead of paying top dollar for premium food, think about talent.
Yeah.
So your talent. So you can take a pork butt, right? And pork butt is probably $1.25 a pound right now. So if I throw it in the oven for 2 hours and I try to serve pork butt sandwiches, everybody's going, hey, what are you doing, right?
Yeah.
But if I boil it for 10 hours and throw some sweet baby rays in there, now I've got pulled pork, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
$1.27 a pound. And you're like, this is delicious.
Sure.
And you are okay with the $8.
Sure. Right.
So what I was like, go with the low cost food and push that for your specials or reconfigure your menu and raise the price of things that are expensive so that they go to the cheaper things.
Right. Right.
And like they're big on chicken wings, right? Well, chicken wings are really expensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
20 years ago when I went to culinary school in the 80s, we would butcher our own chickens, right? The chicken wings were garbage.
Right. You just throw them away, right?
So we would cut the last part of the wing off, and then you got two parts, right? And we take out the center bone, and we'd scrape it to the top, and we'd make little drumsticks, a little soy sauce, a little honey, some sesame seeds. Put it in the oven. Now you got an appetizer, right? It's got a little handle on it.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
I'm like, chicken legs are. You can get a huge thing of chicken legs at Aldi for $5.
Right. Right.
Still tasty.
Right.
Still dark meat.
That's
still,
actually my
so
favorite.
I'm like,
yeah.
So I'm like, why don't if you're gonna promote the chicken wings, why not do the same thing to chicken legs?
Yeah. Yeah.
She's like, oh, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's cheaper than carrots? She goes, now you mention it. We did some glazed carrots the other day. And people said, "Guys, more carrots and no potato."
Yeah.
So restaurateurs have gotten into this cycle of what I'm going to sell that for. Stop selling that.
Right. Right.
If the market has priced you out that I'm paying $50 to take you to lunch,
Yeah.
you're selling the wrong stuff.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Completely. Because um, I'm much more health conscious, or not just health conscious, but I am much more budget conscious after moving back to Ohio because I'm not working like I was. I'm not working
You don't have as much money in
six
the
days.
bank.
Right, right, exactly.
You
So I
care
have to,
more.
yeah. But I also have always loved to cook, and I mean, it's great to the grocery prices still are reasonable. I think.
Yeah, I sure there are a couple things that like when I go to Aldi 5 years ago, I used to get a big old thick ribeye. It was $8,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd eat half of it. Maybe I'd share it with Ocean, and the other half later
Yeah.
in the week. Right now, it's $14. I can afford it, but I don't buy it.
Well, and Kazmeyer's has really good meat. They're local here, and I don't know, fifth generation, something like
Yeah,
that. They've been around for over 120 years,
yeah, it's
and
amazing, isn't it?
and they have really good meats, and they have really good sales on their steaks, and they have the Chairman's Reserve.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same ones that Steve was using. Is the Chairman's Reserve. So I mean,
Okay.
it's really good cuts,
Close
but
to
they'll
prime.
close to prime, yeah.
Yeah.
And but they'll have a sale on a certain cut every week, and sometimes their ribeyes are like $10 $10 a pound for the Chairman's Reserve. And they still have real butchers. They don't like get
Yeah. Yeah.
so they bring them in and cut them, and the butchers will cut it like certain ones that are
Well,
thick cut.
that's the other thing is so much of the stuff comes in pre-packaged now.
Right.
So I don't know if I told you the story. So I went to Kroger a couple weeks ago, and all I did was point at a piece of cod. I was above the glass. Now my finger was still 4 feet from the piece of cod. This lady yelled at me,
What'd you say?
"Get your hand down!" I'm like, unless I have a 4 foot finger, I can't touch the
Yeah.
fish that I'm pointing at. Yeah, and she was so rude. I just walked away.
She was the butcher, or
She was in the
in the
second. So I
That's too
actually
bad.
said I was being a smart ass, and I went on Facebook and I said something about it. Well, everybody knew exactly who I was talking about. So she's mean and she's rude, and she probably shouldn't be in customer service.
Right.
Because there's not a lot of positions in. Thank you. There's not a lot of positions in Kroger where you actually have to deal with the public, unless you're a cashier or you're working in the bakery section or the flour section or the cheese section.
I wish there was more cashiers at Kroger.
Yeah.
I hate being my own cashier.
So I was just like, you know what, lady, I don't need a piece of cod that's bad.
Yeah.
So I walked away.
Yeah.
And I didn't say, screw you, bitch.
Yeah.
I said, you're not worth it.
Yeah.
And I walked away. And I don't know if other people have done that, but I had had enough.
Yeah. I have. I try. I mean, I'm not dissing Kroger and Meyer, but I really try and support Kazmeyer's. I mean, Alan Kazmeyer is my neighbor, just a little bit down there. 5 generations. His son works there. His son manages.
Oh, my grandmother went there. Yeah,
his son's
it's one of the few
daughter,
places you can have a charge account. Did you know that?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they'll give you a number, and once a month send you a bill.
Wow, I didn't know that.
There are very few places
Not anymore,
in
right?
America that you can do that. Yeah.
That reminds me, it just brought back just like a split second. There was bars back in the day that had charge accounts. That
I used to hang out at a bar and they let me write checks.
right. But I remember this small town near my grandparents' place. Um, we were in there one time, and I was either with them before I was 21 and just like, they were just with my grandparents, or maybe I was just 21. But it was crazy because the bartender's like, you can't have any more until you pay last month's charge account. Some guy was just in there all month, just drinking, drinking all month, and he's like, I got
That's
you,
dangerous.
right? That's so bad.
Yeah.
So, but funny. I mean, can you imagine going to Village Idiot or something like that? It's like, put it on my account.
Well, the
I'll
Village
pay it
Idiot
next
wouldn't
month.
be too bad because their drinks are
Right,
pretty
right,
cheap.
right.
I last time I went there, I think the guy said that'll be $2.50, and I went.
Mm.
I was like, really for a mixed drink? I
They
was
have
shocked.
they have really good happy hour prices. They don't really advertise that they even have a happy hour, but they have good happy hour prices. Um, and that's one place that the business model just works. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just like simple live music.
I've heard they're in the same conundrum, which is it's not as busy as it used to be.
The younger generation, what I've read, and when I talk about younger generation, I'm saying like 25 and under. Um, so I guess we're only really talking about legally 4 years, but they don't really go out. Like when we were that age, for one, you could probably drink at 18. I was a 21 age drinker. I mean, when I was legal, I was 21, but that was the goal. You'd like to go out. That was the
Well,
scene.
during the Obama recession, Netflix and chill
Right.
became a thing. So that's because no one could afford to go out. Everybody was broke, right? So a, a date out was on the couch and watching Netflix and
Right.
micro pizza and
Right.
smoke a ball.
Well, and that's the thing too is weed now is really popular. Um, it's I don't do. I mean, weed's legal. It's weed. It's
Right.
legal here. It's legal in Michigan. It's been legal in Michigan for years. It's been legal in Colorado and California for 10 years. Um, I've done it before, but I'm not a fan. I don't smoke. It's probably been 3 years or more since I've
But
had
there's no
anything.
social places for weed smokers. We're
The
not like
sofa,
Amsterdam.
right?
There's no cafe where you can go and sit and smoke some hash and
I wonder if
drink
that. I
coffee.
wonder. I wonder if
Would
that's.
that
I
work?
wonder if it would work.
Is it legal?
Why
I
not?
think we should try that.
That's
Let's
actually a good
start.
business model.
We're,
I mean, this is
let's apply for
brainstorming on dogs
let's
red
apply
wine,
for a
right?
permit to open up the first hash
Brown shop,
house.
right? Right.
No,
Coffee
no, we're
shop.
not
We'll just call
doing
it a
potato
coffee.
hash.
We'll just
We're
call it a
talking about
coffee.
hash.
This is our coffee shop.
Yeah.
You guys don't have any coffee. Yeah, it's
Bring
a
your own bud. We'll do
Amsterdam.
BYOB.
Yeah, Amsterdam Coffee House. We'll just call it the Amsterdam Coffee House because the Amsterdam coffee houses don't have.
You know what's crazy in California? If you're outside and I was in Boulder, Colorado. It's even worse there.
Mhm.
If you're outside and you're smoking a cigarette, I haven't had a cigarette in so long, but 10 years ago even, you're outside having a cigarette, people are like, what are you doing? Smoking a joint? Can I have a hit?
It's so
It's
stinky.
so funny.
It's so stinky too.
It does
It
smell.
it does.
It
amazes
permeates
me.
everything around.
It
Uh,
amazes me that people don't think that they smell like weed. It's like That everybody, you can't even drive your car by me without I can smell, even if you're not even smoking weed currently, I can smell your car driving by.
Yeah. Now, when we were in Puerto Rico, did you smell a lot of weed down there?
Not a lot. Not a
No.
lot.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you?
No, I think someone commented on it, but it was also we were down there during spring break,
Right.
so
Right. So,
I don't know what the guy down below us in the truck was doing the whole time. Below the kitchen.
right.
Yeah, nice pickup though. I don't know when I assumed he was selling something out of that thing.
So, healthcare in 2025 and beyond.
Okay, so Elon Musk has been talking about the population, the world population, right? So the world population is going down,
Right.
and the birth rate is not capable of keeping up with the world population. So he's making the point that we're in a decline, and that's not a good thing. But he also is obviously pro robot. He makes the damn things, right?
Mhm.
So, what is everybody going to do if we have all these robots?
It's a real conundrum
Right.
because so do you remember the cartoon or movie where these fat people just sat around in their little robot things and the robots did everything?
No.
It's uh, I'll have to figure
Prediction
out.
of the future.
Yeah, but I was watching an artificial intelligence documentary and they were talking about it and they're like, we're having a hard time coming up with a life model that doesn't lean to that because it's like eventually the robots will be able to do everything better and faster and cheaper.
Well, we're talking about bringing manufacturing back to the United States, right? Okay, well, let's talk about manufacturing in China. Most factories that have been built in the last 5 years are dark factories in China. Do you know what that means? That
Yeah, there's
means
like
the
there's no
robots
lights.
don't need the lights on because they're robots, right?
Right,
They know what to do
right.
in the dark or light. Well, we certainly are going to have dark factories here.
And
So it's
you
not going to be
could.
factory workers running the damn
Right,
thing. It could
right.
be one guy who needs to go around and oil the robots or whatever.
Yeah.
But sooner or later, you're going to have a robot who can
Oil,
oil the
oil,
robot, right?
right, right.
So,
It's yeah.
and so what are humans going to do? There won't be anything. So, what happens?
So
I
this
think
is
we are, for the first time, in actually unpredictable waters. You know, we have the example of the cotton gin, right? So when the cotton gin was invented, there was a lot of, well, what are all these people going to do that are separating the seeds from the cotton?
mhm.
Like, oh my gosh, we're going to have, well, that was, like 200 years ago. So obviously that was no problem.
Right.
But what happens when I've got a robot, like I had a robot? It'll clean my house. It'll garden, do my laundry, cook for me,
Won't complain.
clean my car.
Yeah.
Security.
Right. Right.
Hey, go stand in front of my front door and make sure the crappy kids down the street don't TP my
Yeah.
house,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The
No,
dogs
it's
didn't
yeah.
find that out.
I know it's funny. Like Bodie, I don't know where Bodie is even. He'll bark at thin air, but like people will come in. Like we have daughters and stuff. They'll come in. There'll be four daughters come in. I'll wake up in the morning and like have a household of people. I'm like, where do these people come from? You
Thanks,
know?
dude.
Yeah,
Thanks for
you
letting me
didn't, you
know.
didn't, you didn't. So, but I think he's like, by the time 10 p.m. hits around, he's like, "I'm out. I'm checked out. If you need security, that's another dog shot."
Get a Doberman.
Yeah, right.
I'm
I'm a
I'm
doodle.
done.
I'm a doodle.
I'm a doodle.
I'm a doodle. I'm
Get
8 a.m. to 10 p.m. If you need something, if
Max.
you need night security,
Yeah.
that's a Doberman.
If you want overtime, I ain't your guy.
But yeah. Uh,
Well, the
I think
wine is delightful.
yeah, it's
Conversation
great.
was good.
Yeah. First,
Hopefully we're still live.
yeah, it says we're live. You know, I mean, we're still learning about comments and stuff like that. So comment on this and give us some subjects. What do we got? It looks like we're live for. I'm just gonna jump up here real quick and see what we got. We're live for just over an hour. I'm just gonna pull this here. We're on Rumble. Love our platform Rumble, and so right there is exactly 1 hour on Rumble, and I think we call it a day here,
And hopefully it worked.
right? So here we are, Dogs Red Wine Studio, having a great time.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, John, Jason. So
Enjoy your Friday night.
Yeah, and you
go
guys,
out and find a great restaurant that doesn't overcharge.
There we go. So
support
next
week. your non-scamming restaurant in your area. They're not scamming, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's gotten
absurd. All right. Well, we'll see you next week on another episode of
Dogs Red Wine.
Love it.
Now, can